The Bible has no contradictions. Every single one people scream about falls apart when you actually read it like an adult. What's up? It's your Silver Gorilla, and I made this channel to rip all the garbage and complexity out of faith in Jesus and make him simple again. People love to spam comment sections with gotcha verses claiming the Bible is full of errors. And today, I'm here destroying the three most popular ones that I see. They get thrown around constantly. The ones atheists screenshot and mock. So we're going to hit each one hard with the exact verses and why the claim is weak and why the Bible actually stays rock solid. So if you've ever felt shaky when someone hits you with these, then this one is for you. So let's jump into it. First up is the two completely different accounts of creation. So Genesis 1 says plants, then animals, then humans. Genesis 2 supposedly says man first, then plants, then animals, then woman. Sounds like a straight up contradiction, right? Wrong. Genesis 1 is the wide shot, the big overview of all creation in 6 days. It's a chronological account, a timeline. Genesis 2 is the close-up zoom on the Garden of Eden and humanity's special role. It's the order of importance of creation. The earth and all that's on it was created for mankind. But you don't bring the guest of honor to a party and then start decorating. See, it's not two different timelines, it's two different cameras on the same event. Like if I were to show you a picture of a whole zoo, and then I zoomed in on one monkey, nobody says that the two pictures contradict each other. See, Genesis 2:19 says, God formed the beasts, period. The next sentence says, he brought them to Adam to name. It's summarizing what already existed. Same with the plants. See, Genesis 2:5 shows God placing cultivated plants in the garden to feed Adam and for him to care for. Again, you bring the food for the party before starting the party. Different focus, zero contradiction. Short version, two creation stories in the Bible, think again. The next one, number 2, is how Judas died. So in Matthew 27, it says that he hanged himself. In Acts 1, it says he fell headlong and his body burst open and his intestines spilled out. Sorry to be a little graphic. So which one is it? Well, both. He hanged himself, the rope or branch broke, he fell onto the rocks below, and his body burst open. See, I bet at some point you've fallen square on your face, or at least seen someone else who did. Did you split open and your guts fall out? You didn't, because that's not how the living human body works. See, Matthew tells you how he killed himself. Luke, who was a doctor, tells you the final graphic state of the body after it decomposed in the heat and fell. One account is the method, the other is the aftermath. See, they fit together perfectly. This one cracks me up because people act like ancient people couldn't understand a body falling and splitting open. Come on. And a layer deeper is who bought the field. Well, Matthew says Judas threw the money down in the temple, and the priests bought the field because they wouldn't keep the blood money or put it back into the treasury because it was used to pay off Judas to trap Jesus. Well, Luke says Judas bought the field. Why? Well, Luke was writing as a historian, and if the priests weren't willing to keep the money, they probably weren't willing to sign a deed in their own name either. So it's not a huge leap to think that they put Judas's name on said deed, since the money belonged to him. And that's what Luke found in the records, is a deed in Judas's name. The third one, because I'm not going to spend any more time on that, we're good. The third one are Jesus's two completely different family trees. So Matthew traces one line. Luke traces a totally different one. Different names, different paths, contradiction, right? Again, no. Matthew gives the legal royal line through Joseph, the kingly line that goes through Solomon, David's son, to prove Jesus is the legal heir to David's throne. You know, the prophecy that says one of your line will always hold the throne. Luke gives the actual biological bloodline, most likely through Mary, going back through Nathan, David's other son, and all the way back to Adam, thus tying Jesus firmly to all humanity. Matthew proves Jesus is the king. Luke proves he's fully human from Adam. But here's the plot twist. There's 3 genealogies in the Gospels. Now I'm using the word genealogy loosely. But John 1:1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It goes on to explain that through him all things were created. And then in verse 14 it says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Jesus is king. Jesus is human. Jesus is God. So there you have it. 3 of the biggest so-called contradictions, and every single one completely collapses when you stop skimming or cherry picking and actually read with context. The Bible was written over 1,500 years by 40 different authors, and yet it tells one unified story. That's not an accident. If this helped clear up the noise for you and helped you to see a little bit more of how the contradictions actually work together, man, hit that like button. Drop a comment with the contradiction you're struggling with most, or the favorites that you have and how you've studied and debunked them. And subscribe to the channel. Let's keep ripping up the completely out of touch and ridiculous things that we're seeing, or let's just keep pulling all the complexity out of faith. Man, let me know what you need. Let me know what's bothering you, or just where you're having trouble. Feel free to send prayer requests, whatever it is. We'll see you on the next one.